Welcome to the highlights of the first day's play of the New Year Test between Australia and India at the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's the traditional game following the Boxing Day Test won by Australia. They lead 2-0 in the series. These are the teams nominated by the skippers just before the toss. The Australians, they have Michael Whitney as 12th man. Merv Hughes passed his fitness test. Shane Warne makes his debut in Test cricket for Australia. The Indians have made changes to their side. Azharuddin and Shastri there as captain and vice-captain, but Navjot Sidhu has been flown from India to take part in this match. He takes the place of Srikanth. There is Manjrekar, Tendulkar, Venkata, Kapil Dev, Prabhakar, and Pandit comes in for Kiran Moray, who is injured. He's been successful, Moray, in the first 2 tests, but he is out of this one because of a hamstring injury. Srinath and Banerjee comes in for Venkatapati Raju. Ganguly is the 12th man. Tony Greig in his pitch report said that the pitch was very hard, had some grass on it, but looked as though it would be a good batting track. That didn't stop Mohammad Azharuddin putting Australia in when he won the toss. It's something for which you need to wait till the end of the day to see if that's a success or not. But I must say I shook my head a little at the thought of India putting Australia in the first day of this test match. We'll just have to wait and see. But we join play now in the second over. Prabhakar is the bowler. Mark Taylor is taking strike. Australia without loss.
That's through the gap on the offside. Back for the third. So the Australians on their way. Got that one away, and it's running down towards the boundary. Into the fence it goes. A frustrated Kapil Dev there.
Kapil Dev looking for the outswing, pitching outside leg stump. Jeffrey Marsh has no problem with that. Navjot Sidhu throws himself at the ball, all to no avail.
Oops, he calls it. Hits the stumps to be gone. Can he hit him? Oh, the man wasn't up either. Poor cricket by India. Taylor stranded 3/4 of the way down the pitch. The throw was bad. Sidhu fumbled. He wasn't up to the stumps. Dear, oh dear, what a let-off for Mark Taylor.
Yes, he responded very quickly to Jeff Marsh's call. Marsh realizing the ball had travelled a bit. And pretty poor cricket from Sidhu, who made a good effort to come in there, but was not quite there.
Double change. Smith coming into the attack. Right arm, medium fast. Gone, dropped. Oh, straight to third slip for Barker. A regulation catch. Dear, oh dear, he had that and he spilled it. And that's a bad start for India.
Yes, you really can't get them simpler than that, though no catch in Test cricket is really simple. They all have to be taken. Prabhakar seemed to have grasped it before it bounced out of his hands.
Banerjee coming into the attack. There's enough for a shot. There's danger there. Umpire Peter McConnell, the umpire at the members' end. Maybe outside the line of the off stump. Maybe held its line.
Yes, I think the ball didn't really come back at all, just straightened through. The bowlers are nothing but not optimistic.
Certainly gave the umpire a chance to give him out by not offering a shot. Just need to see him back and he would have been adjudged LBW, I think. Just held its line, would have missed off stump. Bowled him! Well, that's a great start for Banerjee. Marsh bowled around his legs. 1 for 22.
And what a breakthrough. Just what India needed. I think Marsh was well forward, well across, leaving his leg stump exposed, and that's just the breakthrough that India needed. They must have been a little disappointed at the dropped catch earlier on, but this must give them new heart.
1 for 22. David Boone, 61 test matches, 4,103 runs at an average of 41.86, comes to the crease.
too strong on the square cut.
Yes, he loves the cut, David Boon. The outfield a little slow. It's quite lush, the outfield.
Boon just doing some avoiding there. Just taken by surprise.
Yes, he made a bit of a mess of that, David Boon. I don't know whether he picked it up or not, but he's normally a good hooker and cutter. This time he pulls out and he doesn't keep his eye on the ball until very late, and just as well he did.
We're seeing another change of bowling at the Paddington end. Manoj Prabhakar. That's the attempted bouncer. Mark Taylor quite happy with anything short, particularly on a wicket of this pace.
And that's foolish bowling by Prabhakar. They've been very tidy the last 20 minutes. Picked up a wicket. He dropped in a long hop bounce, and Mark Taylor's a beautiful pull or hooker. This is a pull shot in front of square leg. Beautifully balanced, and it went all the way along the carpet for 4. And that will give Mark Taylor tremendous confidence. There's nothing like breaking the shackles with a full-blooded and positive stroke. And the balance was superb there. He's a superb pull of the ball.
Good shot. He loves them there. Running away down towards the boundary. Won't quite get there. It's 3 to Boon, and that is also the end of the over. 1 for 64. It's an interesting little bloke on just there. There's a picture of would it be an umpire? That's a good shot. Straight into the gap at mid-on. Brings up the 50 partnership between these two.
Mark Taylor now really opening out. 50 runs partnership of 115 balls in 78 minutes.
I tell you that may well remain the shot of the day, no matter what else is done between now and the close of play. That was a fierce pull shot.
David Boon is normally a good player of the short pitch ball. He's into position very quickly there. If in fact the fast bowler suggests he tries using the middle of the bat, he's just done it. Banerjee, quite a tall young man. Not overly quick.
We saw the pull shot in the last over Srinath bowled, and now a classic straight drive from David Boon. 2 lovely shots.
David Boon has played a number of well-timed drives since the luncheon break, most of which have gone direct to a fieldsman. On this occasion, he hit it back in the best possible position, straight back past the bowler. Once you beat the bowler, there's rarely any fieldsman behind there. Fortunately for the Indians, it only just rolled into the fence, so it shouldn't have been knocked out of shape.
And that'll go all the way. Very delicate late dab. There's no third man, and Taylor finds that gap with no difficulty on this very accommodating batting pitch, and Australia move on to 102.
Nice touch there from Mark Taylor. Just concentrated on placing it away from the slips in the gully fieldsman.
Just getting in for his 50th run. So Mark Taylor Good 50 in spite of the early chances.
Two 50s in succession for Mark Taylor. Played very well in the second innings at the MCG. Really started to find some good form. And it's his third 50 against India.
And that's out. Mark Taylor's got the outside edge. And the new ball has worked for Australia, for India. And Mark Taylor is out for Australia. The second wicket has fallen for 117.
Well, that's certainly a very good delivery by Banerjee. In his first test match, he's picked up both wickets, and that is a crucial breakthrough for India at a time when these two seem to be entirely on top. Gone for 56, 2 for 117. Mark Waugh coming in here at number 4.
And when he comes in a good position, a dominant position like Australia are in at the moment, he really has shots like that to take advantage of it. He is a marvellous onside player. It's 2 for 121.
It's gone. Well, there you go. He's got 3, and that's the end of Mark Waugh. All of a sudden, India lift their game. Banerjee, the hero at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
It's a slightly casual shot there from Mark Waugh. Seemed to have played it very loosely. And the edge going to Manoj Prabhakar at gully. Simple catch, but a loose shot from Mark Waugh.
3 for 25, Banerjee, and India delighted with his performance on debut. 3 for 127. Dean Jones. It's a beautiful shot. Glorious cover drive. That'll bring up his 50. Well played. Very positive cover drive.
It's a nice little half volley wide outside the off stump for David Boon to get his 50 with. But even if the ball is pitched there, you've got to hit it and then find the gap. David Boon's done precisely that. Hit it with power and through the gap to get his 50.
3 for 135. 4 minutes before the tea break. Boon 50, Jones yet to score. Jones in the air. Well, there you go, through the slip cordon. When you've got a defensive field, you can't have it both ways. That was catchable around about third slip. Races away for 4.
As Jones was obviously nervous. It's a shot you wouldn't normally play unless you're well in at the wicket. But here he's playing at a ball way outside the off stump, and that was catchable. But no fielder there. And perhaps Azharuddin might have to rethink his strategy. Employ a far more attacking field. Have a player close in at forward short leg. This is the last over before tea.
This time he's got him. Well caught by the captain. A superb catch. Not out, he says. Well, the keeper was up. Must have been just a half volley. Azharuddin said no catch. Tough decision for umpires.
He's one of the true gentlemen in international cricket, Azharuddin. And that was a fine effort, but it didn't carry.
3 for 149. Srikanth to continue to Dean Jones. Jones cuts, and that's glorious shot. That's Dean Jones in form. 1991 form, that one. That was a beautifully played square cut.
Yes, he's a very aggressive batsman. Anything a little loose, and there's an example of a shortish delivery outside off stump. He was onto it in a flash, and it really was a lovely shot. Always going to be 4. Well, that is a good delivery. Bounced a little bit, surprised Boone. He manages to get it away through the gap on the offside. And is it going to get to the fence? Yes, it is.
It's very hard for the bowler when you beat the outside edge, but you do get full value for your edges here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. I've got to run down the hill. Tice Boone forward and away from his body.
50 stand between Dean Jones and Boone, that little single down to third man. 50 partnership, 106 balls and 64 minutes, so it's pretty good time-wise.
Shastri straying a bit in length, bowling short for Boone to cut off the back foot. For 3 runs, Australia 3 for 201. Indian bowling has been more restrictive rather than destructive.
It was a very difficult caught and bowl chance. Now a run-out chance, and he's out. Dean Jones has been upset by the missed opportunity by Ravi Shastri. Tendulkar was the fielder at mid-on who came and collected the ball after Shastri had knocked it down. He's fired it back to the wicket-keeper and beaten Dean Jones home.
Yes, that was fine thinking by Sachin Tendulkar, seeing Jones trying to regain his crease at the bowler's end, firing the throw at the wicket-keeper and getting a vital breakthrough for India. 4 for 211 Australia now.
The Australian captain batting at number 6 today.
Well, he's got that away beautifully. Bad ball, and that's going to go bounce into the fence for 4. Beautiful pull shot.
This was a fine player of the horizontal bat shots, Alan Border. Not sure we've seen enough of them in the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think he's tended to neglect them a little bit, and I don't know why, because he plays them particularly well.
So he hit that beautifully in front of square, right off the meat of the bat. He moves to 5. Close, got to be very close. My word, he maybe got inside edge. Very confident appeal from the bowler. Behind the wicket, umpire Steve Randall officiating.
Well, just querying the umpire there, I think, as to why it was not out. And I can understand him asking the question.
Well, that must have been very, very close.
Well, no more excitement after that until the close of play, when the Australians finished at 4 for 234. That's the way their card looked. Marsh 8, Taylor 56, War 5, and Dean Jones, that brilliant run out by Tendulkar for 35. 89 for David Boone, just 11 away from another 100 at the SCG, and Border 14. The bowling figures for India, well, they played their 4 seam bowlers. Banerjee making his debut, a day he will never forget. 16 overs, 4 maidens, 3 for 36. A lot depends on what happens in the first hour of play on the second day. For the moment, though, we'll leave you with good night from the SCG. Welcome to the highlights of the second day's play of the Sydney Test match, Australia against India. Remembering that Australia are 2-0 up in the series, and they didn't have a bad day on the first day. This is the way they finished up, 4 for 234. David Boone, 89 not out. Alan Border, 14 not out. And 56 for Mark Taylor, 35 for Dean Jones. And the bowling for India reflected the fact that they had 4 seamers in the side. Banerjee taking the 3 wickets to fall. The other one, Dean Jones, run out. We join play now in the third over. 1 run has been added, 4 for 235. Prabhakar is the bowler, and David Boone is taking strike.
Through, that's a fine shot. Timed that on drive beautifully. Waiting for the swing. Didn't really go through with the stroke. It was all timing, and it goes all the way. Boone into the 90s.
Looking for his 4th Test century at this ground, David Boone. And he really has improved his driving in recent times. In his early days, strong onside player and very good with the horizontal bat shots.
Yeah, dropped him. Great effort by the Indian captain, diving away to his right. Beautiful piece of bowling at gully. Mohammad Azharuddin threw himself to the right and got a hand to it and put it down.
Well, he got the ball just where he wanted it to Prabhakar, but unfortunately, despite a tremendous effort there from the captain, the ball going to turf.
Alan Border on strike to Kapil Dev. Indians without luck this morning. They've bowled quite well. Done him again. He's gone this time. Beautiful piece of bowling. That was always on. He'd angled across rather than the in-swing when he picks up Border for the 9th time.
He really does like bowling to Alan Border. You notice just an extra spring in his step. Kapil Dev, a faint edge there, and Pandit doing the trick. So a beautiful piece of bowling, and the Indians have got the breakthrough they need. And Australia are now 5 for 248.
Ian Healy, the hero of the Melbourne Test match with the bat, with a magnificent 60, taking guard.
In the air, and up goes the throw. That's out. Healy doesn't like it. Shrikant, the substitute fieldsman at forward short leg, taking the catch, and it was a very half-hearted appeal, which would suggest it was a big edge.
Ball nipping back, and Shrikant just tossing the ball up, but umpire Peter McConnell having no doubts whatsoever.
So there he goes, Ian Healy, normally very dangerous. Unfortunately, on this occasion, only 1 run, 6 for 251. Welcome back. Merv Hughes out there now, playing in his 35. He's played 35 Test matches, 30 years of age. He can bat a bit. That's the way down towards fine leg. It's running down there. Boone turns for the second. Back he comes. Comfortably home. Well played, David Boone. A chance for the century. His 11th Test century, 9th in Australia, 4th against India, and 4th at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And a fine innings it has been.
To give you some idea of where Boone scored his runs, that's from the Paddington end. Just the 2 boundaries, backward a square into his favourite area. From the other end, he's hit boundaries all over the place. 3 of them straight, 1 through extra cover, 2 back cuts, a pull shot. And that lovely on drive too. And that was a lovely straight drive through the offside field. Won't quite get to the boundary, but he'll collect himself 3 more runs. Beaten him, he's out, caught behind. No doubt about that. There was a little edge, went flying through to the wicketkeeper, and again, not a very elevated appeal, but up they went, and Merv Hughes has nicked one and is out.
Yes, Prabhakar had put a leg slip in, making Merv Hughes believe that he was going to bowl the ball coming into him, but the ball went away, and that's fine bowling by Manoj Prabhakar. Australia 7 for 259.
Craig McDermott is the new batsman. Well bowled, beautifully bowled, right up in the block hole, and that off stump is not a pretty sight. A lovely delivery right up there, and that's the way to handle the tailenders. Craig McDermott, clean bowled there by Prabhakar. Have another look at this. Swings in as well. It wasn't quite a Yorker, but it's made a mess of the stumps, that's for sure. Prabhakar doing a good job here for India. Well, the drinks are coming out onto the ground, and Australia are now 8 for 269.
Shane Warne, Victorian, playing his first Test match for Australia.
And that's brought one of the biggest roars of the match. This time, umpires have relented, and Shane Warne has got off the mark.
Lovely placement. He's found the gap between extra cover and mid-off. Srinath has a long chase, but this time he won't catch it.
Well, there was some talk that the pitch was a little slow and not coming on, but it may have just speeded up a little. Certainly no trouble in driving there from David Boon.
Well, there's no question about that one. He cracked that behind point. Superb shot by Warne. And Banerjee proving expensive here in the last over before lunch.
It's a good shot, beautiful straight drive, right off the meat of the bat. Don't worry about that. Well, that brings up the 300 for Australia.
This is a superb drive on both the off and on sides, David Boon. Prabhakar's encouraged him to drive today. He's been quite full on one or two occasions, hit that on the up, but with a full face of the bat and worked it to the on side of the stumps. Was always going to be for a glorious on drive. You can't defend those drives because they're so straight. Mid off and mid on. They're a fraction wide, and it's a perfect shot.
Oh, that's got to be out. No shot offered there. Surely that must be out. Boon never offered a shot at all, and the umpire has perhaps judged that that was going down the leg side. It doesn't matter whether it hit him outside the line. If you don't offer a shot, you've got a problem.
Oh dear, that's got to be very close, doesn't it? Struck him on just almost the outside of the pad, but that would have taken the stumps. That was certainly out, in my opinion.
Well, that's right into the gap, and that's really a dreadful. You've always got to back up just in case. Indians asleep on the offside.
Oh, Banerjee in his first match not backing up. It's 8 for 313.
Something else we've read quite a lot about just lately, the importance of protecting your eyes. Oh, and that's it. Caught behind. That's the end of Warne. A thick edge, that one. Nicely taken too. And Warne, in his first appearance in a Test match, has been involved in a pretty useful partnership with David Boon, out caught behind for 20.
Yes, a good delivery and a very good catch. Just beaten by the length here and the movement away with a fine knock by Shane Warne on the B20. There's the movement, a bit away from his body, and a very good catch by Pandit. He's done a good job for India, but a fine partnership ends with Kapil Dev taking his second wicket. That's 9 for 313.
Bruce Reid is the new batsman. He's a left-hander of sorts. In the air and well caught. That's the end of Reid. 2 balls later. One off the meat of the bat to mid-wicket. The next off the edge straight to gully.
It's a good piece of bowling, a good catch by Tendulkar. Third slip, 3 wickets for Kapil Dev. He's a liner-hearted performer along with Prabhakar. They've done a great job here today for India. A great effort by David Boon. We see Reid there flashing outside the line. Never really covers the ball, does he? Way from the body. Tendulkar took a sharp catch. But what a good effort by David Boon. Coming in at number 3, he's batted right through to be 129 not out of 313. Certainly not a fast knock, but it's certainly a great team effort from David Boon. A standing ovation from the smallish crowd. Well played.
A wonderful reception for David Boon when he came off the field there, unbeaten on 129, but still it was India's day. 6 for 79 they took, and this is the way the Australian card looked at the end. 313 all out. Boon unbeaten on 129. 20 for Shane Warne, who showed good common sense on his debut in Test match cricket there before falling to Kapil Dev, caught by wicketkeeper Pandit, and Bruce Reid out without scoring. 37 extras, 313, and the bowling figures, an outstanding performance from Kapil Dev and Prabhakar. Kapil Dev 3 for 60 and Prabhakar 3 for 82. Well, the Indians, facing 313, had a new opening pair. It was Ravi Shastri, who'd been in the first 2 Test matches, but this time Navjot Sidhu replaced Chris Srikanth. Here's the first over, and it's Sidhu facing Craig McDermott.
Well, outside edge to a third slip, very low down. And the question is, did it carry? Did it squeeze off the under part of the bat? We'll have a look.
It went straight to Alan Border, in and out. For a man who's taken over 130 catches, it was a regulation catch, but they all have to be taken.
Dermott to continue now. Good shot. No backlift to speak of, Ravi Shastri, but some very good timing. On the last 2 deliveries, we've seen him just lean on the ball and on each occasion pick up 3.
It's the kind of wicket that the Indians love, the ball not bouncing too much. And Shastri is very strong off his pads, flicking it nicely. This is his favorite shot. Ravi Shastri scores most of his runs off this push off the hips, off the legs. Sidhu obviously having a tough time adjusting to Test cricket. It's all very well playing first-class cricket, but Test cricket is a different cup of tea altogether. And facing McDermott and Reid's not going to be easy.
Really was a top delivery. McDermott, one of the fastest bowlers in the game. And that's well taken. That's beautifully caught at second slip. So the Indian problems at the top of the order continue. And Sidhu goes after having given a chance. A really good low catch at second slip.
Excellent catch there by Mark Waugh. Sidhu trying to leave that ball at the last moment. Couldn't get his bat away in time. And a brilliant catch there by Mark Waugh. First Indian wicket is gone. Navjot Sidhu unsuccessful. India 1 for 7.
New batsman is Sanjay Manjrekar, coming into a familiar situation for him in this series with the loss of an early wicket.
1 for 27. A great moment here for Shane Warne. He's selected as a leg spinner.
He's pitched 3 pretty good deliveries so far.
That's a great shot. And Manjrekar driving beautifully. Nothing wrong with the delivery, but just a fraction over pitch, and he moved into that up drive beautifully.
The sweet timer of the ball, Sanjay Manjrekar, is basically a regulation half volley. He moved into it very quickly. As Bill talked about before, the best part of it was that he picked the gap.
Nice shot off his toes, racing out towards the boundary, going down the hill. So that's 4 runs.
Well, that's a short ball, but just wide of the fieldsman there, and that is into the gap. So every now and again they're going to bowl loose deliveries, and that particular loose delivery was dispatched very well to the boundary, and what's more, it brings up the 50.
looked like the attempted flipper there from Shane Warne. Just a bit short. Sanjay Mandrekar likes to cut. He's tried to cut a couple of times, very close to off stump.
It's well bowled again. Well, it's a stiff examination for Shane Warne because he's up against the players who play spin bowling better than anyone else around world cricket at the moment. Not that they see all that much of it. They're generally up against pace. But the Indian players see a lot of off-spin and leg spin in their own country. It's a tough examination for Warne, and he's looking good so far.
That's what he's trying to do.
That was a very good delivery. He's bowling against one of the best young players in the world and a good player of spin bowling, Manjrekar. That was beautifully bowled.
Good turn and bounce, which is very, very important. And today, 13,934. So for 2 days, 27,702 working days. So tomorrow is a big test for Sydney. The crowd is going to come to see India in a good position to take the fight up to Australia in the series. Oh, top short. Struck him on the arm. Maybe bat first. A bit of bounce there for Big Merv.
And taken at second slip by Mark Waugh. The round arm delivery from Merv Hughes. A good bit of variety.
Sanjay Mandrekar falling for that variation from Merv Hughes, the round arm delivery. Mandrekar following that ball and easy catch to Mark Waugh. Disappointed Mandrekar making his way back. And India has lost their second wicket for 86.
Merv Hughes has got the breakthrough. That brings Dilip Vengsarkar to the crease, and moving into the commentary position we have the two Tonys, Tony Greig and Tony Cozier.
Chalked up his 50 with that single, and hence the applause from the crowd. One pushed into the gap for one, so it's been a while coming, but he knows that he's got to get his head down. Just 2 boundaries in his 50. He's been out there for 180 minutes.
Thick edge down between second slip and gully for 4. Not an entirely convincing shot. And I don't think McDermott and his captain are seeing eye to eye on the field placing at this time.
Yes, I think just a bit of frustration there for McDermott, perhaps suggesting that he'd like that area covered. Playing a long way away, almost as if it was a hand grenade. Notice how he had the bat so far away from his front pad.
And it's a full toss, which brings up India's 100.
Very much India's day. 6 for 79 they took to dismiss Australia for 313, and then by the close of play, this was the way their own innings looked. 2 for 103 with Shastri and Vengsarkar in command. It took 56 overs. The Australians bowled very tightly, but they are certainly inconvenienced by the loss of that fine bowler, Bruce Reid. A wicket for McDermott and 1 for Hughes. 2 for 103, and the bowling figures for Australia. Reid could get through only 4 overs for 10 before he had to leave the field with that torn muscle. McDermott bowled pretty well, 1 for 27 off 17 overs and 7 maidens. Hughes, excellent once again, 13 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 25. Seems to be at his best when the chips are down. And Shane Warne, on his debut, 19 overs and very tidy ones too, 5 maidens, none for 37. He has a bit of ability there, and he has the right basics. So it's just a question of sheer hard work now. You get plenty of that on the 3rd day of the Test match here with India in the ascendancy. For the moment, from the SCG, it's goodbye. Welcome to the highlights of the third day's play of the New Year Test between Australia and India. I'm afraid it was a soggy day at the SCG, not as much play as we would have liked. At the start of play, the Indians were 2 for 103. 56 overs had been bowled. Shastri was 52 and Venkateswarlu 13. And the men out, Sidhu without scoring and Manjrekar 34. Play was delayed because of rain, heavy showers across the ground, then a bit of blue sky, and it wasn't until 2:20 that they were really able to get underway. We join play now with McDermott bowling to Shastri.
Close, very close. First ball, my word. Big shout from behind the wicket. Ravi Shastri to Craig McDermott. McDermott with his arms folded. Oh, a big start here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Ravi Shastri doesn't go very far forward, just props onto that front foot in front of the stumps. Just missing leg stump, though, on this occasion. Craig McDermott may have felt that it was close.
This time he's just a fraction forward. Big shout from Healy and McDermott. It's a very cool customer, Ravi Shastri.
Quite a bit of comment in the press. Sunil Gavaskar talking about the standard of umpiring so far in this tour. Won't have done a great deal for the tension on the field. Whenever there's an appeal, just puts a bit more pressure on the umpires.
It's driven nicely. Got a bottom hand in that drive. Punches it down the ground. 3 to Venkateswarlu.
Philip Venkateswarlu wasn't particularly in very fluent form in the Melbourne Test match. He seemed to struggle for his runs there. Looks a little bit more fluent here today, although that was a regulation half volley. Just leaned forward, pushed it back past the bowler, and there's always runs there.
Venkateswarlu tall and elegant. Not playing a lot of shots on this tour because he hasn't been at the wicket long enough. Umpires having a look at the light. It's not rain, it's quite dull, but surely India would want to stay on. 2 down in the series, and 2 for 108. You wouldn't want to come off unless you were really frightened, have been hurt or dismissed by the fact you can't pick up the ball. So far, they haven't missed hit a ball, haven't been beaten. One would think that India would want to stay out.
I can't believe this. I can't believe that on such an easy pace wicket where there have been no problems, on a day where so much play has been lost through rain, that they'd want to go off. And it is an absolute lack of understanding of what cricket is all about. Sport these days is in the entertainment industry, and this is not entertainment to walk off at the first opportunity because you're afraid you might get out. And I think that's the only excuse we can give the Indians on this occasion.
Not much action there, just 17 balls bowled before the players went off for bad light. I really couldn't understand the tactics there of the Indian side. I'd have thought they'd want to keep Australia under pressure for as long as possible. The players came back on at 2:59, but bowled only 7 balls then before they went off once again. And it was 3:27 before the umpires were able to get things restarted. We'll be back to join play after this break. The players are back on the field. The umpires have decided that the light has dramatically improved, and they've brought them out onto the field again. Dida Venkateswarlu is one of the batsmen. The other one is Ravi Shastri. And your commentators now are Tony Greig and Sunil Gavaskar.
That's a good delivery. Shastri's had a few problems with that short one.
Yes, I was talking to him in the morning, and he said that the wicket's a bit too paced. The ball's not coming on when it is dug in short, and so he has to wait for the ball to come in. It's perhaps easier if the pace is even to sway out of the way, but Shastri is right behind the ball over there.
That'll hurt. Taken on the upper arm. May have got a bit of the elbow. It's either a bit of the elbow or on the muscle of the upper arm, on the back part of the upper arm, and that will smart.
He's got an arm guard on, Nsaka. He took it because there was a short leg. It's not unusual for a batsman to take a blow on the shoulder, but that was a direct hit.
Wasn't all that well played, really, because if you're just going to stand there and take him on the arm or on the body, I know some players do prefer that to playing at the ball and taking the chance that they'll get caught in close. And Ian Healy only just pulling that one down.
Well, that was did that pitch break up then when that ball hit? Because we've seen very few balls fly like that. McDermott dug it in short, and my word, that took off. Oh, it did fly. And Healy had to take the big mark to save 4 byes.
I think they generally do get up a long way when they're bounced about 10 feet from where they let go.
Oh, and he's hit him again. Well, you can take so much of this. Looks as if that one actually missed his arm that time and flicked the side of his body.
That was badly played. He had plenty of time to get out of that one. It was reasonably short. He just stood there, and I think he tried to evade it in the end and took it on the ribs. There's a short leg in, that's David Boone, and so Merv Hughes trying to extract some life out of this pitch. You can only take so many of those. You start to get sore and you start to worry about the short pitch delivery.
Play started at 220. They bowled 17 balls, then came off the ground, and then at 259 they bowled 7 balls and came off the ground. No ball, short and nicely played. And Saka up on his toes on that occasion. He's a little bit more comfortable when the ball's outside off stump. A little bit more room to move in. And that was an indication. He played that one quite comfortably. Also played it down.
Merv Hughes obviously trying to break up this partnership by pitching in the short pitch delivery at the batsman. This one was just a fraction wide. It was no ball, and he played that pretty well. On the toes, glided it between slip and gully for 3.
And it didn't carry. Well, his bat was angled, it went down, and the frustration of McDermott written all over his face. Away she went, bounced, and I suppose was well stopped. So that's the end of the over. It's 2 for 128. Oh, it's a good shot. Mind you, it was a full toss. Into the fence for 4.
That was a fine shot off a full pitch. Found the gap. And Warren having a bit of trouble here. Understandable, the outfield is a little bit wet. Just over pitching, and he found the gap on that occasion. Not a cross-batted shot. Still the straight bat rather than maybe a baseball type cross-batted swipe. He hit that straight and beat Jones at cover and Merv Hughes at mid-off. So very positive stroke. Shastri on to 61 now. 64.
That's the 50 partnership between these two. India going along pretty well at the moment, 2 for 136. He's dropped him. Well, there's his first opportunity. It's gone begging, and he can't blame anyone.
Again, looking rather inconvenienced, trying to drive the spinner. The ball has carried. Difficult chance down low to his right. The leg spinner has got to be the best fielder in the side for his own bowling. Shane Warne will be very disappointed.
What a good shot that is. Down the wicket he goes. One bounce over the 4 and 20 pies sign. It's a very aggressive shot.
Having had some problems going down the wicket, a little bit more back lift there for Ravi Shastri, and a little bit of forward lift with the ball too. One bounce into the Brawangal stand, one bounce, one hand, that's out.
He's done it again. And that's gone a long way. Over the top for 6. Whoa. Ravi Shastri has decided to cut loose, and in 2 balls he's scored 10 runs. And that also brings up the 150 for India.
We've talked about the fact that Ravi Shastri has hit 6 sixes in an over in first-class cricket. We can now see how he's done it. A couple of very lusty hits. Really putting the pressure back on Shane Warne now. It'll be interesting to see how the young man handles it.
That's a good shot too. That one's played backward of point. Guess it's bad enough having 5 fours hit off you in an over, let alone 6 sixes. That's the end of the over. 2 for 152. Down the leg side.
This was an appeal against Shastri for leg before. Good shout. Ball going down the leg side, perhaps.
And just for Sonny's sake, the sun has come out. Definitely seeing the best part of the day now. And we're seeing some very good batting. As the Indians have decided to make their charge in this game. We've seen some very good batting from Vengsarkar and Shastri.
Shastri's not going to get ruffled by these short balls. He's got an objective in mind. That's a century.
Those are the results between these two countries. Australia well ahead in victories, 22-8, 16 drawn, and the second tied test in the history of the game. Ian Jones chasing. The ball just getting past Jeffrey Marsh, who's been brought into a very short gully position. That's the spot Jeffrey Marsh is occupying.
The fielder brought in because Ravi Shastri has been fending the ball off his face. Mark was surprised him with his bounce, and Jeffrey Marsh has been brought in close for the lobbed up catch.
Vengsarkar's looking for 2. It's well run.
This is another one of Mark Ward's variation. Short leg cutter, finding the edge but not carrying to border at second slip.
Shouts of catch it, and Ravi Shastri looked in all sorts of strife there.
Ravi's getting stuck in one position and then not able to move out of the line. Ball not traveling perhaps as much as he would want to.
Beautifully timed. Jones will pull it back, but it was well hit.
Dilip Vengsarkar just leaning on to that front foot, timing the ball well rather than hitting it, finding a gap, and the first runs have been scored off the second new ball.
Dean Jones having a bit of work to do in this over. And the Indian running has been much better in this innings.
Yes, they have been very positive in this test. Jones chasing the ball for the second successive time.
There doesn't seem to be anything too bad about the light at the moment.
Well, I don't know. He's been beaten by a slow medium pace, and the umpires merely have a union meeting. If it's not going to rain, surely they're not going to come off again, just because he's been beaten by an outswinger. I know it's a tough job umpiring, but a lot of common sense has to take place as well. The batsmen have been there, they're set, they've been there for a long time. It may rain. It's a different thing altogether if it starts to rain, but at the moment one would think the light is still reasonably even though a little bit dull.
Well, now does Ravi want to go off? They're having a look in the pavilion for Mohammad Azharuddin so as they can get any sign from him. Does Ravi want to come off when he's only 5 short of the century? What do they think about it? Do they want to stay on and keep grinding the Australians into the SCG turf? They're going to go off. Well, a disappointment, a real disappointment there for the patrons, 7,000 of them who were at the SCG today. But in the end, there was nothing the umpires could do about it because that cloud came over very black and menacing, and they finally took the players from the ground just before 6 o'clock. Just one point as we look at the scorecard. This is the Indian score, 2 for 178, Shastri 95 and Vengsarkar 43, with the men out Sidhu and Manjrekar. And the Australian bowling figures dominated by McDermott, who bowled very well, 27 overs, 11 maidens, 1 for 45, and Hughes, 22 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 44. And Shane Warne bowled better than those figures might suggest, 29 overs, 7 maidens, and none for 70. He missed catching and bowling Shastri at an early stage of his bowling today, and I thought he did very well. Just one point about the various interruptions today. They bowled 17 balls and then 7 balls, and then in all up to the tea break, only 90 balls were bowled. Tony Greig raised the point with me, couldn't really see why they would want to go off for a tea interval at that stage, and it is definitely something for the administrators to think about with falling attendances at Test match cricket. We'll leave you there with India in a very strong position at the end of the third day, an abbreviated day, I'm afraid, and we look forward to having you with us for the highlights tomorrow night. For the moment, from the SCG, it's goodbye. Welcome to the highlights of the fourth day's play of the Sydney Test match, the New Year Test between Australia and India. The Indians in a strong position at the close of play on the third day. This is the way their card looked: 2 for 178. Shastri 5 away from a century. Vengsarkar is 43. Each man playing very well indeed, and a strong batting lineup still to come. The bowling figures for Australia: Shane Warne bowled 29 overs, 7 maidens, none for 70. The wickets went to McDermott, 1 for 45, and Hughes 1 for 44. Well, conditions much better for the fourth day than was the case on the third, when we had rain and bad light stopping play. The hope on the fourth day was that we'd get through a full day's play with India challenging Australia. We join play now in the second over. It's 2 for 180. McDermott is the bowler. Shastri is taking strike.
We'll come back for the second here, which will take him to 98.
That was one of the few big cover drives he's tried off Craig McDermott, so he's trying to get through the 90s quickly here this morning. It was away from him a bit. He didn't quite time it. He was looking for the boundary and hit it into the ground, but it takes him on to 98. What a bottom hand in that square drive.
Getting out for 99 is not great fun. He's looking for one. They're going for it, and this could be close if he hits. No, it's hit the batsman himself. So Ravi Shastri has scored his 11th Test century. That's his second 100 against Australia in Test cricket. He's 27th in first-class cricket, and he'd be a very, very satisfied Indian.
Fantastic effort. Down on the ropes, 2-0. He struggled against the pace at the Gabba. Melbourne Cricket Ground could hardly get the ball off the square. This is a very good effort. Lifted the chances of the Indian team for not only this Test match, but for the rest of the series, the World Series Cup and the World Cup. Good team effort.
Yes, he's fought his way all the way to 100. 5 boundaries there and just the 1-6. It's taken quite a long time. That's well played. That ball outside off stump and short, and purposely hit over the top of Gully's head down to the boundary for 4. And that gives Vengsarkar his half-century. That's his second half-century in the series. He's worked very hard for it too. 2 for 190. Into the air and straight towards them. He is really a good catcher, and McDermott, plugging away outside off stump, manages to get that one to move away a little bit, and the edge going straight to Waugh, who made no mistake.
Yes, a very fine catch. Mark Waugh's got a beautiful pair of hands, much like Greg Chappell. He seems to wait for the ball to come to him. It's quite sharp, never any doubt. And McDermott breaks through. A very valuable wicket for the Australian team. They needed that. A big whiff for them. And Sarkar a fine 54. 3 for 197.
Welcome back. Well, the new batsman is the Indian captain, Mohammad Azharuddin. His highest score, just one short of 200. Although on this tour, his highest score is 90 not out. He's off the mark straight away, and that'll run down to the boundary. The outfield just a little quicker today. Dermott didn't enjoy that too much.
Good start by the Indian captain. He needs a big score, but disappointment for Vengsarkar, really. He played away from his body, moved away a fraction, but a guy who's been there for such a long time and had been there for a while this morning. It was a long way away. But Waugh did the... All you can ask from him is taking his third catch. Be very disappointed with that dismissal, Vengsarkar. Just a little bobble there, but doesn't miss him. Very good fieldsman.
Magnificent catch by Boone. The second time in this series, he's brought off a miracle catch at forward short leg. That one, in point of fact, didn't stick. It bobbed up in the air, and he was quick enough to recover and grab it, and so all his teammates gathering around. What a catch, David Boone.
Yes, Mohammad Azharuddin really hit that right off the meat of the bat. There, hits the left hand, and out it comes. That's a classic, if you ever saw one, and a big breakthrough. All of a sudden, India lose 2 wickets in 3 deliveries. McDermott does the damage, but that was David Boone's wicket. A great catch. Disappointment from Mohammad Azharuddin. You'd have to be very disappointed with that. 4 for 201.
Well, the new batsman, the Sachin Tendulkar. 98 overs have been bowled, 4 for 204. This is McDermott. Shastri driving, and that one just flicked the fingertips of Waugh going to his right there. They've decided on 2 gullies as opposed to 3 slips. Had they had 3 slips, I suspect that may well have been the end of Shastri. Waugh is in position at second slip. To take up commentary now, Greg Chappell, and with him, Sonny Gavaskar.
Thank you, Tony. Just shows you when you're hot, you're hot. Ravi Shastri in a bit of form. Would have been a magnificent catch by Mark Waugh, but a little bit of luck there for Ravi Shastri. Mohammad Azharuddin will be sitting in the dressing room just wondering what could have been.
That's the 250 up.
And he's got that off the meat of the bat. That's a good shot. Right over the top and into the bleachers. 150 for Ravi Shastri.
Well, Ash is really enjoying that one. Ash Gooney there in the red shirt, loving that hit from Ravi Shastri. He's a man who can hit the ball. He's shown that with 6 sixes in an over in first-class cricket. That was a beautiful hit. Heading away to the concourse at the Noble stand, and what a way to bring up the 150 for Ravi Shastri.
Oh, lovely shot. He timed that beautifully, and he's hurrying to see, in fact, if he can come back for a 4th, and they will, as Merv Hughes just loses his footing on the boundary.
Yes, this is a new India, isn't it? They're running between the wickets in this test match. Very positive, very aggressive, putting the Australian fieldsmen for once under a little bit of pressure. They're learning from the Australians is Merv. He really is a goer, isn't he? Looking at the big man. He's bowled a lot of overs. He knocked it back. Great effort, but doesn't stop the 4th run.
Alan Border.
Oh, that's an easy catch dropped. He took a magnificent one today in at short leg, and that one came straight in and popped right back out. David Boone.
3 times now for Ravi Shastri. It's his match. This often happens. He's tried to hit him at the ground again. He didn't quite get it. He hit across the line for the first time. Hit it to mid-wicket, and Boone put down a sharp but straightforward catch.
That's a good shot too. Off the back foot, punched into the gap. That extra cover. And those 2 runs bringing up the 300.
Ravi Shastri's played his part well for the Indian team. He's been there right from the beginning.
Always dropped him. That would have been a tremendous catch by Border, because the ball was really hit back at him very firmly. But Alan Border in his time has taken some great catches, and he'd be a little disappointed with that. That's the 100 partnership between these two. Now you watch Border here. Down the wicket goes Shastri, smashes it back at him. He's in a good position to catch it, but he wasn't quite able to get there. Would have been a great catch.
One for the coaching manual.
We're seeing this afternoon the emergence of one of the shining stars of the 90s for world cricket. This young man is a very talented player, as we've discussed before. That's a very classy shot against one of the best strike bowlers in the world, albeit under conditions which are in favour of the bat. It still takes a bit of courage and a fair bit of skill to play shots like that. Sachin Tendulkar comes on strike. Much more free-flowing player, a lot more flair. And that brings up his 50, and a fine 50 it has been.
Shane Warne.
Ravi Shastri prefers to hit the leg spinner over the offside. He's done it again, and that brings up his highest test score. He's moved along to 190, and that surpasses the 187 which he scored against England at the Oval in 1990. And Ravi Shastri has knocked over a few records here today. He's terrorised young Shane Warne with his ability just to get inside the line and help him over the offside.
Oh, what a shot. Gora stand up and applaud. A beautiful on drive. That's what people want to see in a test match. Superb straight. 4 for 375. .198 for Shastri. There's a chance. He cuts it past Marsh, but go all the way. Yes, it will. He's going to get 2 here. A tremendous effort by Ravi Shastri. 200, the first time by an Indian in Test cricket in Australia.
He's hit that pretty hard, no need to move. He's gone after Shane Warne from the very beginning today and stepping down and lofting him over mid-on for 4.
Good thinking by Ravi Shastri. The mid-on's in, long off is out, so he's lofted it over the mid-on fielder.
It's in the air, Jones under it. That's the end of the innings. Shane Warne gets his first test wicket after prolonged trial and effort, and a superb double century by Ravi Shastri has ended.
A standing ovation for Ravi Shastri. It's been a great effort. And he's deceived here in the flight, and Shastri plays a half-hearted lofted shot. Jones making no mistake. That's Shane Warne's first test wicket.
Who picked up a hat-trick in Perth. That was in the same over this time. He's picked up the Barker and Kapil Dev, and the crowd coming alive here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Gorda bringing all the fieldsmen up. Warne being brought up from mid-on to short backward square leg position. Jones coming in from cover. And what a day's play this has been.
Now, I want you to just relax here. I don't want you to get too carried away. I'm going to just move back a little bit, because if Big Merv gets a test match hat-trick, I just can't imagine how you're going to behave.
Court Jones, Bolt Hughes. There's never been a hat-trick in an Australian-India series. Here he comes. No hat-trick. Well played, Panda.
That's in the air. It's a difficult one and not quite taken by Whitney this time. He held that magnificent catch down at the MCG to finish off the Indian innings, but he couldn't quite make this one.
Tendulkar chancing his arm. He scored his 100. He wants to help the Indian score be pushed along. Mike Whitney, as Tony said, took quite a good catch at the MCG. Running alongside him was Alan Border, who in fact caught Sachin Tendulkar. Similar sort of situation to this. May have been better if Alan Border had been a bit closer, but either way it would have been a very, very difficult chance, and it's no disgrace to Michael Whitney to have got that close and just failed to get to the ball.
That was a wonderful day's cricket. The Indian batsmen gave full entertainment value for the crowd, a good crowd in the SCG. It was just superb to watch them. This is the way their card finished at the end of the day, 7 for 445. They began the day at 4 for 285. That was when 122 overs had been bowled, so the scoring rate was tremendous all the way along. 7 for 445, Shastri 206, Sidhu no score, Manjrekar 34, and also out today, Venkata 54, Azharuddin 4, Prabhakar 14, and Kapil Dev, a first bowler from Merv Hughes. Pandit is 3, and Tendulkar 120. A wonderful innings from Tendulkar, the youngest Test player ever to hit a century in Australia. 7 for 445, and the Australian bowlers, they did it hard out there, but they stuck to it, and the fielding was quite often brilliant. They saved a lot of runs in the field. It was good to watch. McDermott 3 for 131. He has a leg injury, but he's still out there bowling away. And Merv Hughes 3 for 82. Shane Warne 1 for 150 from 45 overs and 7 maidens. He'll bowl much worse than that and get a better return. So the Indians thwarted in the end by the weather. They wanted, if possible, to push on to a 200-run lead and get the Australians in before stumps. Well, that hasn't happened. We could still be in for a very interesting last day, but India's chances of winning have now diminished. For the moment, we'll say goodbye from the Sydney Cricket Ground.
198 for Shastri. There's a chance. He cuts it past Marsh, but go all the way. Yes, it will. He's going to get 2 here. A tremendous effort by Ravi Shastri. 200, the first time by an Indian in Test cricket in Australia. Wex, there's a chance. It's fine. He'll get it. Uses wide. He'll come back for the second, surely. Yes, here he comes. That's great running. Well played. Sachin Tendulkar. His first 100 at the Sydney Cricket Ground, a magnificent knock in good time.
Yes, it was a wonderful day here yesterday with the Indians taking control of the game, and one of the reasons there was such outstanding entertainment is that there was a lot of spin bowling on show, some good batting, good stroke play, and excellent footwork. It was a day to remember. This is the way the Indian side finished up at the close. 7 for 445, Shastri 206, and Tendulkar unbeaten on 120. Pandit's there with him on 3. There are 10 extras, 7 for 445. And the Australian bowling figures, the Indians having decided to bat on the final day. The Australians will have to start again. McDermott has 1 ball to go in his 48th over. 3 for 131. Hughes 3 for 82. And Warne 1 for 150. Well, perfect conditions at the SCG. Just couldn't ask for more. It's a 5-day-old pitch, so when the Australians eventually get on it, there will be a little bit of turn there for Ravi Shastri. In the meantime, though, it's the Indians batting. Tendulkar is taking strike. It's 7 for 449, and your bowler is Merv Hughes.
Almost identical. That single brings up the 450. It's also the end of the over. 7 wickets are down. Just 1 slip. Australia aren't going to give any runs away. They can possibly help it. A good shot, right off the meat of the bat, but third man is covered. Back for the second.
That's a good bit of cheeky running. I reckon they almost made the decision on the wide throw, because they didn't appear to be taking the second until Pandit saw that Ian Healy had been dragged away from the stumps by Whitney's throw. There he makes the decision on the throw. That's very cheeky running, but also good running.
Better go at that one, and this could be out if he hits. Says it. Well done, Merv Hughes. So often this year the Australians have hit the stumps. So Pandit run out as a result of that direct hit from Merv Hughes. He may have been better off getting between himself and the bowler.
I think he was trying, actually, but he just couldn't get into that position quick enough. And he was a bit unfortunate, Pandit, because he was in a bit of he was in a bad position there, really. After playing the shot, he was in a bad position to take off and run, whereas Tendulkar was on the move. So he really did leave him a bit high and dry. India 8 for 4, 58.
Subrata Banerjee coming out for the first time to bat in a test match. Well fielded, but they're going to get one. Yes, I tell you what, he would have been run out by miles had that one hit the stumps. And in fact, given it away. But it missed, and so he's got one. In the air, out. Caught by Border at mid-off. Banerjee trying to drive that one down the ground. He hit it right in the meat of the bat. Just carried to Border. So unfortunately for Banerjee, that's the end of his first test innings.
Good catch there by Alan Border. Had to come forward a couple of paces and just picked it up centimetres from the turf. Banerjee is gone. India 9 for 474.
Javagal Srinath is the new batsman.
Back down a long off. Will they go for two this time? Whitney's the fieldsman. Oh, it's got to be suicide this time, surely. He's gone this time. Run out. All out, India. With 483. Srinath run out, going for the second run. Sacrificed himself for his team. And young Sachin Tendulkar remains not out, to the delight of this crowd. A fine test innings. 148 not out. Congratulations from Dean Jones. A very good ovation from the crowd for the young Indian batsman. Big Merv comes down. It's great to see. They appreciate a fine innings from a young man with a ton of class. A standing ovation from the members and from the Australian players as well.
It's a splendid performance by India, 483, but I really couldn't see the purpose of them going on this morning. I thought it was just time wasted where they might have been out there trying to take Australian wickets. A standing ovation for Sachin Tendulkar, 148 not out, and a terrific performance from him, and the tail unable to stay with him, 483, so a good performance from the Australians to pick up those extra wickets. The bowling figures for Australia, McDermott 4 for 147 and Hughes 3 for 104. Really big-hearted efforts there, and they were backed up by some wonderful fielding. There were a lot of runs saved by the Australians, and that Indian total of 483 could have been considerably higher. So 170 the lead for India. We join play now in the Australian reply, their second innings. It's the fourth over. Prabhakar is bowling to Mark Taylor, and it's no wicket for 9.
It's off a shot. Whoa. Dear, oh dear. They're taking a chance, the batsmen today, by not offering a shot.
That's why they brought the law in. So many players in the 50s pushing their pads at the ball and not being out. And that's the reason the law was brought in. Keith Miller, a great all-rounder in an earlier era.
It's got him. Have they down the leg side? Yes, he's out, caught behind. First innings it was bowled. This time it's a leg glance. Intelligent cricket by Kapil Dev. Picks up Marsh. India have broken through. There it is. He glances, gets a feather on that. Through to Pandit. A little bit of a fumble there, but he's got it. That's the first wicket down. India led by 170 when this innings started. Marsh out. It's 1 for 9. Well, Buzz around the Sydney Cricket Ground as David Boon comes to the crease.
After 7 overs, Renat coming in from the Randwick end, replacing Prabhakar. David Boon flowing with the blade as well around the off stump, as we saw him do so often in the first innings.
Srinath again over pitching outside the off stump this time. That's been his problem. He hasn't really been able to get the right line. He's been bowling either wide of the stumps or on the leg stump.
Gone, what a catch! Mohammad Azharuddin at Gully takes a gem. That could be the turning point in this match. Srinath without a wicket. Short, Boon went for the square cut and the captain took a great catch.
Wide-ish, and he went after it. He hit it pretty hard, but it didn't come off the middle and went straight into the midriff of Azharuddin, and you can see the smile of relief on the face of Srinath with his first wicket. 2 for 31. Mark Waugh coming in at number 4 as he did in the first innings. Change in the Australian order. Failed in the first innings, and here he is now to face Srinath. It's a good first delivery as well. Indians ready on their toes now. They can sense a chance here. Got 2 early wickets. They've got a lead of 170. Ooh. Well, that's illustrating the point. Flashing outside the off stump, and it was very close. 2 for 31.
This is Prabhakar. Well played. Didn't quite get to the boundary. They'll get 3 though. Two for 54. Oh, big appeal there. That's out. Yes, no doubt about that. It kept a bit low. So Prabhakar has struck. It looked to me as if it was headed for leg stump, but more than anything, it was probably the fact that it kept just a little bit low, and as a result, that's the end of Waugh.
It's interesting, that one definitely online, out LBW. You just wonder what psychological effect it had on Mark Waugh, having those 2 close infielders on the leg side. He's such a strong player in that area. But anyway, whatever the case, he's out LBW to Prabhakar for 18, and Australia 3 for 55.
Dean Jones, the new batsman.
Jones drives beautifully through mid-off. Sweetly timed. And that's 4. First 4 of the innings from Dean Jones.
Fine drive there by Dean Jones. Nice way to get off the mark. Half volley, finding the gap.
(31 to Taylor, 18 to Jones. Big shout from Pandit, and the umpire Randell, taking a while, thinking about it, and then he gives Dean Jones out. So Ravi Shastri has struck.
Well, there's no doubt about the shout from the wicketkeeper. And Jones only seemed mildly enthusiastic about it. He's gone, caught  Pandit, bowled Shastri for 18, 4 for 85.
Alan Border, who demoted himself to number 6 for this test match.
So Australia's 100 on the board leaves them still 70 in arrears. India getting that first innings lead of 170.
It's a brilliant catch. Kapil Dev fielding at point. Wasn't a particularly good delivery, and I don't really think that Mark Taylor can blame the footmarks. I'm sure psychologically he was aware of those footmarks, but it was a half-hearted shot. He wasn't really sure that he wanted to play it. It's hit the thick outside edge of the bat. It's gone slowly in the air. Kapil Dev, great athlete that he is, makes a valiant diving attempt. In fact, it might be Srinath fielding in that position. It was a brilliant catch. Australia 5 for 106.
Just having lost the batsman who had been there from the beginning, Ian Healy now comes out to join his captain.
Oh, and that's in the air. This is gone. Healy's trying to have a go at it. Will he drop it? No, he won't. So Healy's out, trying to hit against the spin. The pressure getting to him there. That was an atrocious shot. He won't like that one very much. Have a look at it again.
Yes, that's the pressure of the situation. Here he is a great team player. This time he loses his cool, tries to hit it against the spin. Ravi Shastri didn't play one of those shots in 5-6 hours. And Prabhakar takes a straightforward catch, and all of a sudden India are in with a real chance here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and they know it. Healy out, caught at mid-wicket for 7, 6 for 114.
Merv Hughes, the new batsman.
Gone over the top. The mid-on and the mid-off are in the orthodox position, so that's twice now he's gone over the top. That's carried all the way for 4.
Merv has hit down the ground a couple of times. He's chosen well. He's also struck the ball very well.
Oh, what a good catch. What a brilliant catch at first slip. It was the quicker one, and it went fine off the edge of Merv Hughes' bat, and Prabhakar has taken a brilliant catch on the left hand. That's just the sort of thing that India needed to lift them back into the game.
It's Hughes pushing at that, and an absolutely brilliant catch there by Manoj Prabhakar. Just the breakthrough the Indians are looking for at this stage. Merv Hughes out for 21, caught Prabhakar, bowled Tendulkar, and that's the 7th Australian wicket down for 164.
Craig McDermott strides to the crease, taking the place of Mervyn Hughes.
Tension out in the centre. Tight feeling across the back of the neck. Well known to captains all around the world. That is just the way to bring up your 50, make sure India have to bat again, and to set the opposition on the back foot. Brilliant.
Alan Border has summoned up all his powers of concentration today. Hasn't played a lot of aggressive shots. He hasn't missed too many scoring opportunities. There's an appeal there, and he's been given out. Craig McDermott's not a happy man. He played forward. As far as he was concerned, it just hit the pad and dollied to Venkateswarlu at the offside bat pad position. He has failed to score.
They'll go for anything, and it's successful. McDermott goes, 8 for 171.
Kane Warne is the new Australian batsman.
And he's all set.
Shouts of catch it or up him or whatever else the Indians call when the ball goes in the air. A little bit of bat, pad in the air, but the fielder just a bit too square in that position. Needed to be a bit straighter on that occasion.
What a marvellous performance and what a great game. It's one of those where a draw is a just result, even though the Indians might feel themselves badly done by, but it certainly was a super game of cricket played on a very good pitch, on a result pitch, and only the weather stopped that happening. This is the card. 8 for 173 at the end. Border, I reckon that's one of his best ever innings. It's certainly not his biggest score, but 53 not out in those circumstances was wonderful. Warne was there with him at the end. He won't forget that on his debut. And Hughes, a very sensible partnership, 50 from 141 balls with Border. 8 for 173, and the Indian bowling figures, they stuck at it all the time. Azharuddin tried everything he knew. Kapil Dev a wicket, Prabhakar 1, Srinath 1, and Shastri 4 for 45 in 25 overs and 8 maidens was man of the match. Tendulkar took his first Test match wicket to go with that century he made as an 18-year-old. Next cricket coming up is on Thursday, a day-night match at the MCG, and that's between Australia and the West Indies. This is the Australian side. Alan Border and Jeff Marsh, then Boone Jones, the two wars. O'Donnell, who has to face a fitness test, or Paul Rifle will come in. Moody, Healy, Taylor, McDermott and Whitney, and that is the Australian squad for the next 3 games in the limited overs field. We look forward to having you with us on Thursday in Melbourne. For the moment, it's goodbye.